What's going on to all my Apple TV Plus fans out there, and welcome back to my channel Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new TV review, and today we are talking about the very first Korean TV series on Apple TV Plus by the name of Dr. Brain, a new sci-fi thriller which I got to check out the other day. Really excited to let you all know what I thought about this first episode and let you know if it's worth checking out all in this spoiler-free review. Before we break it all down, do me a favor and check me out on all my other social media accounts. If you all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert from when I drop new content. If you all enjoyed this spoiler-free review of the first episode of Dr. Brain, well, make sure to like and share the review. It helps out the channel a lot, but also appreciate the support. And in those comments, let me know if this is a series that was on your radar, but more importantly, once you've seen this first episode, what did you think about it? Are you intrigued? Did it pique your interest? What do you think about the narrative and the performances so far? And will you be back to watch this on a week-to-week basis on Apple TV Plus? Let's talk about it in the comments below. So my goal in this video is to give you guys a little bit of insight if you're not too familiar with the show, give you my thoughts on the first episode, and by the end of the video, I'm gonna let you all know if it's worth checking out and if I'll be back to review this on a week-to-week basis. With all that being said, let's get into what Dr. Brain is all about. This new limited series on Apple TV Plus, Dr. Brain, will consist of 6 episodes and was created, produced, written, and directed by the incredible director Kim Jee-woon, the director of 2010's I Saw the Devil, and the show will be starring Lee Sung-kyan, and the story follows a brilliant brain scientist who suffers from horrific personal tragedies. Desperate to uncover what happened to his family, he conducts brain syncs with dead to access their memories for clues. So going into this new Apple TV Plus sci-fi thriller, I was really excited for it. First and foremost, as you all know, I'm always a big fan of Apple TV Plus content, even though one of its most recent new shows by the name of Invasion, which I've reviewed the first episodes, wasn't a fan of that series, but I always give Apple the upper hand when it comes to new content. So I was really excited to see what the show is about. Saw the trailer a month ago, was intrigued, very fascinated by it, knowing that the director, creator, writer was the same director behind I Saw the Devil, which is an extremely underrated thriller film. Highly recommend you all give that a watch. Knowing that our lead actor was a part of Parasite, which I thought he was fantastic in that film. So I was hooked based on what was in front of the camera, behind the camera. Apple TV Plus, sci-fi thriller, sign me up. So what did I think about this first episode? Let's briefly go over my thoughts on the first episode without giving too much away. Just giving you all just a brief recap of what you all can expect from the first episode. We meet our main character, Si-won, who is a brilliant scientist who we learn very early on in the episode. He suffers from a lack of empathy. He suffers from a lack of emotions, and he really doesn't have the best social skills. So within that first half of the show, you're meeting him as a young kid. You meet his mom, who wants the best obviously for his son, wants to kind of get him in different programs to kind of learn what is it exactly my son is missing. Unfortunately, without giving too much away, something does tragically happen to his mom, but in this tragedy, he's able to, you learn very early on, this little kid has incredible memory, and he is vowed to, after something happens to his mom, he kind of puts it on himself to discover the mysteries of the brain. Why is it that I can remember every single little detail of what happened to my mom, and what is it about the brain that we're not exploring? So that's kind of the first half of the episode, and kind of learning who this little kid is, learning why he was this brilliant scientist, is so driven by unlocking the capabilities of the human mind, was something that you really kind of dive into in that first episode, and mostly in that first half. So kind of going a little bit deeper into this character once we kind of meet him as a kid and you meet him in the present day. Again, brilliant scientist, brain scientist, but he's very closed off. Like I said up top, he's very socially awkward. He lacks empathy. He lacks emotion. So you're seeing him as an adult really driving himself to discover and unlock the memories and unlock the brain capabilities. So that kind of leaves things out for social life. He doesn't really hang out with his friends at work. They offer him to go out for a beer, but he's just so driven to define what it is that this brain can do. So that's kind of, again, learning all of that within the first half of the show was very intriguing to me. But it was really interesting because when I saw the trailer and when you read the synopsis, which I'll put in the description below, it says that something happens to his family. So I'm thinking, wait, how does this awkward, socially awkward person that doesn't have empathy, how is he able to get a girlfriend, marry her, and have a kid? Well, this is when the show starts to unfold and you start to learn a little bit more about his story and learn more about his human side. So you see within this first episode, okay, he seems to be someone that when he meets the right person, he's able to open up. And you see his interactions with his wife, his interactions with his son, but you see that it is a day-to-day struggle for him to have that empathy, to be that father, to be that husband, as you see the struggles between him and his wife about simple things like, my son is going to be similar to me. He doesn't need to be a social butterfly. He doesn't need to have a cat in his life. He can be perfectly fine just like me. So you see a bit of a rift between him and his wife without getting too much into the details. As the synopsis reads, as the trailer showed, something tragically happens yet again in his life involving his son. And once something happens to his son, his wife goes down this kind of spiral. And unfortunately, we know that Si-won isn't the type of person that you can kind of lean on when you have that emotional support, because he's not there emotionally speaking. So that's kind of really the first half of the episode. You see his young life, you see what happened to his mom, and see how that kind of drove him to become this brilliant scientist to study the brain. You find out that he has another tragedy that kind of sparks more of who he is as a person and why he's just so driven on discovering what it is this brain could do. So that's where, again, I'm really intrigued by the first half. I'm liking the performances. There's nothing too thrilling in the first half, but again, it's building the characters, it's kind of building that foundation of who this character is and why he is the way he is. But it's in the second half that really gets interesting. This is where you get more of the thrilling aspects. If I'm being honest, it gets creepy, it gets eerie, and we're going to kind of talk about it without giving too much away. But he has this success in his experiments with his lab rats, and he wants to take it to the next level and experiment on human trials, but not alive trials, but dead people. So he takes it upon himself to do these, what he calls brain syncs. He takes a dead body, he gets into their mind, and he starts to see a little bit of the memories. Obviously, this is his first time experimenting on this, so everything's new to him. But remember, I told you all up top, he has incredible memory, but he's not able to remember what he saw in those cadaverous bodies. So you're like, okay, what's going on? How is he able to do it to these brain syncs? And this is where we get more of the mysterious aspects of this narrative. This mysterious detective comes to him and starts to ask him about his wife. Again, the trailer, the synopsis reads, something tragically happens to his family. So you're thinking as the audience, wait, his wife, I thought that something happened to his wife. And that's when you start to be like, oh, what's really going on with this story? And you start to see other policemen start to get involved because something happens to, let's just say, there's a relationship that he learns about between his wife and some other gentleman that we don't really learn too much about other than something happens to that gentleman. And I'll just kind of leave it at that and just kind of wrapping things up within this first episode. Again, I'm sorry if I'm being vague, because I want you all to kind of discover this like I did. But as we kind of wrap things up in this first episode, the brain syncs. He starts to do another brain sync, and he starts to see deeper into people's memories, and it gets dark and it gets sinister. And as he does his brain syncs, and when he's done, those memories that he's starting to see starts to bleed over into the real world. So this is when the show gets really creepy. He's starting to see dead people. He's starting to see these crazy hallucinations. It gets really weird towards the end of the episode. And this is what I love about great television. What's the thing that's going to make me come back? So without giving too much away, as I had mentioned, there's something involving the mysterious nature of what happened to his son and what happened to his wife. And as the episode ends, the mystery box unfolds because we see something that involving his wife. He wants to do something that can give him clues on what happened to my family. And that kind of last scene makes you as an audience say, what's going on? Where have you been? And what exactly did happen to your family? So really great way to end the episode. It complicates things, but in the best way possible. So from a production standpoint, the direction was really sharp. The writing was really engaging. The performances really kind of kept me engaged, but it's really within the narrative. Seeing this guy at a young age, seeing where he comes from, seeing his lack of empathy, seeing the loss that he endured at a young age, fast forward 20 years later, having all that great detail within the first 15 minutes makes you understand why he is socially awkward to his workers, has the struggle with his wife and his son. Something happens to them. He goes on this path to unlock the memories, to unlock the brains of the dead. And that's where, again, the show just really adds another layer to, again, kind of supernatural, dark, entities going on, some creepy, eerie images. So this show really has my interest, and I'm really excited to see what this show has up its sleeve. So again, sorry for the vagueness. I didn't give too much away. There's still a lot to discover within this first episode. But hey, I thought this first episode was fantastic. I'm going to say it again. Korean cinema, Korean television, always just gives me what I want in my type of sci-fis, whether it's horror, whether it's, family dramas. It's always top notch, and I'm really impressed by this first episode, and I'm really excited to see what the rest of the show has to offer. So if you ask me, I want to watch this show regardless if you all want to see a review or not, but I want to know if you all are going to watch this with me. Do you want to break this down on a week-to-week basis? Let me know in the comments below, and of course, once you've seen this first episode, what did you think? Your pros, your cons, maybe some of your thoughts and theories of what's really going on. Let's talk about it in the comments. And again, if you all want me to review this on a week-to-week basis, let me know in the comments by liking the video, sharing the video, and lighting up the comments with what your thoughts are on this episode, and of course, what you hope to see in the weeks ahead. So that's my thoughts on Dr. Brain. Really intrigued, very fascinated by it, and I really want to know the mystery of this show. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you stuck around to this point in the video, I appreciate every single one of you all. Before you leave, make sure to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell. That way you don't miss any of my future reviews. Hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you're staying safe. As you can see on the screen now, subscribe to my channel. Check out my other content. We'll see you on the next video.